Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Gareth. Gareth is a singer and he's from Leicester in UK. So let's see what Gareth has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello Gareth. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How you doing? You all right?
Very good, thank you very much. Should I call you Gareth?
Gareth, yeah.
Gareth.
Yeah.
Okay Gareth, so how are you doing today? Valentine's Day.
Very well. Yeah, very well. Got my live stream later with my band on all the social media channels. So,
amazing.
So that's really good. Yeah, so we recorded that on Friday.
Right.
So I couldn't on Valentine's Day because it wouldn't go down very well with the wife, but but we recorded that on Friday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that later.
So tell me a little bit about it. What?
So that's at 5 o'clock. That's with my quintet, which is double bass, drums, piano, sax, and then myself playing trumpet and singing. We're bringing to the table songs from Frank Sinatra, Chet Baker, some of my big heroes, some great love songs, but also some pop numbers and soul numbers as well. So all on Friday. Really nice kind of setting that we filmed it in as well, like an old theatre. So it was really nice to, in the current circumstances, to get out and actually do some music again. So
that's amazing. And how long?
Live performance. So I've had So it was nice to get out and do some live music again and actually perform again. You know, because it's been a long while since we've done that. So I had a sneaky peek of it yesterday, and it's looking really, really good.
Very good, very good. Gareth, just before we start the game, just tell me where are you from?
I'm from Leicester in the UK. So I'm Leicester, right in the centre of the UK.
Right. And what's the best and the worst part of living in Leicester, in your opinion?
The best part has to be, for me personally, the best part has to be the music community. Because the music community is fantastic here. The kind of sort of team feeling of musicians, united feeling of musicians. We all work together a lot. We all help each other out. There's a few that don't. But there, you know, on the whole, there's a real good sense of togetherness in Leicester, and generally, actually, it's a very cohesive city. It's racially a very harmonious city. It's a melting pot of lots of different cultures. I don't know if it still is, but at one point it was the most multicultural city in the UK. So there's all sorts of cultures in here. It's a great melting pot, and I love that. The worst part is probably that we get overlooked a lot of the time, really. We get overlooked a lot of the time in terms of funding for the arts and for community projects. And there's a big thing about levelling up the north at the minute in the UK. So for years and years, there's been so much money that's gone into London and the south. They're now addressing the balance by putting more money into the north, but the Midlands has kind of been forgotten, and Leicester is literally right in the middle of the country, so it kind of gets overlooked a lot of the time.
Interesting, cool. Okay, Gareth, so welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got box here full of random fun questions, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to play music.
Yeah, cool.
Right, Gareth, ready for the first question?
Ready.
Let's do it. Gareth, what makes you very sentimental?
What makes me very sentimental is hearing old big band records, old jazz records, and musical theatre numbers like from Oliver and My Fair Lady and those sort of musicals, really, because my grandma was a big band and musical theatre singer, and my granddad was heavily into that kind of thing, so it kind of reminds me of my grandparents growing up.
Very good, like that, very good. Let's go for the second question. Let's do it. Right, Gareth, just before the next question, tell me a little bit about your podcast called On the Road With.
Yeah, so my podcast is basically, it was called On the Road With, and we talk to touring professionals from the entertainment and performing arts industries. So that could be singers, actors, comedians, dancers, and behind the scenes people as well. So tour, sound engineers and tour managers and circus performers, anybody who's involved with touring within entertainment and performing arts. That goes out every Sunday. We're having a break at the moment, but it normally goes out every Sunday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, all the places you can get your podcasts, and on my YouTube channel as well, which is Gareth John Music. And my guests normally pick 2 or 3 songs as well that kind of mean something to them or that they've played on or performed. So that's going really, really well. I'm really, really chuffed with it. We've done 30 episodes now.
Very good, very good. Next question is, which talent you wish you had?
Oh, have you got all day? The number one for me would have to be, there's a few, but okay, I'll give you 3. I'm going to give you 3. I know you asked for 1, but I'm going to give you 3. It's too hard to just give you 1, because when you're a performer, there's always other things in performing that you see somebody do and you go, I wish I could do that. So one of them is magic. I'd love to be able to do magic tricks. The other is comedy, stand-up comedy. I'm a big admirer of stand-up comics. I think they've got the toughest job in the business. And the number 1, really, there's number 3, number 2, but number 1 really has to be the ability to dance, because I'm very limited when it comes to that, and I'd love to be able to dance, but I'd love to be able to tap and do all that kind of stuff. I love all that kind of thing, but it's always been my weakness. If you look at like music, acting and singing, all the different disciplines, dancing's always been my weakest. So that's one talent I wish I had.
We could swap talents. I wish I could sing. I cannot do this professional, but I can do some moves. I'm Brazilian. I'm from Brazil, so you can dance. But I wish I could sing. That's something that I wish I could have.
We need to swap for a week.
Yes.
Yeah. We need to swap for a week. Awesome.
Get another question for you, Gareth. Let's do it. Right, let's get another question for you. Right, next question is quite tough one.
Here we go.
If you need to remove forever from your phone social media as Instagram and Facebook or YouTube, which one would be and why? Forever.
That's a tough one. I'd probably go for Facebook. I'd probably remove Facebook just because Facebook has a lot more division on there, and there's a lot more kind of arguments kick off on there and things like, a lot more political stuff. And I'm into my politics in a different way, but I don't agree with this kind of culture of everybody arguing all the time. I don't really get on with that, and that seems to occur most on Facebook. So for that reason alone, because I could still promote my music and stuff on Instagram and YouTube, so I'd probably remove Facebook.
But I think, I put the question a different way. So let's say, because Facebook and Instagram, they are the same. So let's say Instagram, like with Facebook and YouTube. So just 2 of them. Or social media or YouTube. Which one would be?
Probably social media, just because of the reason I just said, because of the kind of hatred and division.
Okay.
It would probably be that. Because YouTube, with YouTube, you can, if you use it in the right way, you can learn a lot from YouTube. There's a lot of, I follow a lot of different YouTubers who are educated about different things.
Right.
So it's more useful, and you can pick what you see a bit more, I find. So probably Facebook would be the one to go. Facebook/Instagram.
Okay, perfect. Get another one. Let's do it. For the next question, Gareth, you're saying that your grandparents was already involved in the music business. So you always had music always been in your life since you were a child?
Yeah, so my granddad wasn't involved in the music business, but he was massively into his big band and swing and all that kind of stuff, which is what I do now as a singer. My grandma actually sang a lot of that stuff, and she was in the musical theatre direction, so like The Sound of Music and Oliver and all those classic musicals. She did a lot of that acting and singing. Had a great voice. And then music was around me in my house as well. My parents aren't musical, but they had, big into reggae. My dad was big into reggae and ska, and my mum was into a soul and funk and a Latin. So that was, and we lived in one big house, all of us. So that was upstairs when mum and dad was all reggae, soul, funk, Motown. And then I went downstairs into the basement, and my grandparents were down there, and that was Ella Fitzgerald, a big band, and vinyl spinning, it's spinning round and stuff. So two completely different things. But if you look at my career, it's kind of been about half and half of those two different things. So that definitely played a massive role, yeah.
Right. What's the weirdest dream you ever had?
I often have dreams. I often have dreams about working with some of my heroes, and they can be pretty surreal, really. I can't think of a particular one at the minute, but they can be pretty surreal. Where you're you're doing the Royal Albert Hall and things like that, and but it's all kind of just normal. You know what I mean? But it's almost like it does actually appear in my head like you'd see a dream in a film, like almost a cloud. You know what I mean? It does actually appear like that. So I guess they're all quite surreal in that way. I know it's not a great answer, but they kind of happen regularly, those dreams.
Very good. Are you enjoying the show so far?
Yeah, loving it. Yeah.
Good. Let's get another question for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Gareth, let's get another question for you. If I would ask your best friend right now to define yourself in a positive word and a negative word only, what your best friend would define you?
My best friend would probably say, in a positive word, they'd probably say resilient would be the word. And in a negative word, they'd probably say disorganized.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, probably something along those lines. Yeah, I'm not the most organized in the world. My wife would tell you
that. What's your star sign by the way?
My star sign's Capricorn, January the 10th.
My sister Capricorn.
Oh, right, okay.
She tends to be disorganized, actually. You're right. She tends to be disorganized.
yeah. That's right.
Let's get another one. Gareth, before the next question, tell me what's the most challenging part of being a singer, in your opinion?
Oh, the most challenging part is keeping going, really, because you often have a lot of doubts that creep into your head, and I came to singing late as well. I've not always been a singer. I started off as a trumpet player.
Right.
And trumpet playing is very much second nature to me. Although on Friday when I was playing trumpet, it wasn't so second nature because I haven't been playing as much with the lockdown and things like that. But the singing was a second thing. So for me, I know I can entertain. I know I can put on a show. But the actual singing, getting the notes right and breathing in the right place, there's a lot to think about. And I think the hardest part is making that look easy and effortless when actually there's a lot going on.
Very good answer. Wow, never thought this way. Very good. I like this. All right, good question. If you could meet yourself when you were 15 years old again, which advice would you give to yourself at the time?
I would. I probably would have advised myself to focus on music earlier, because I only focused on music sort of after university. So it's from sort of 21, 22. I did music, don't get me wrong, up until then, but I only really went for it as a career at 23, really. So I would have gone for it earlier and in a more serious way, and I would have advised myself to start singing properly earlier as well.
And what do you think you didn't start earlier, in your opinion? What was the reason that you didn't start earlier?
Other things. I was really into basketball at the time. I played a decent level of basketball, and I still love the game. I don't play anymore, but I still love the game. And obviously studies and relationships and all that kind of stuff. I very much saw music. I think what I didn't realise is that you can make a decent living as a musician. You don't have to be this huge name. It's not all or nothing. And I think that's probably what I tell my 15-year-old self is, it doesn't have to be this massive fame thing or just nothing at all and you're really struggling. There is a middle ground. And I didn't believe that when I was 15.
Let's get another one.
Yeah.
Before the next question, is there any kind of music that you don't like to listen, or you're not your cup of tea? Something that you...
Not really. I appreciate pretty much any music if it's done well. I generally don't listen to sort of on the rock end. I don't really listen to that kind of thing. I don't really listen to grime and drill. Although I have started to recently because I teach. some of my students are learning some of that sort of music. So I've kind of had to sort of get to know it a little bit more. But there's nothing really there's nothing I completely discount.
Okay, cool. Next question is, what's the best first date you ever been on?
The best first date I've ever been on, this is 100% true. I'm not just saying it because it's Valentine's Day. It's with my now wife. Because we just, it was one of those nights that I just didn't want to end. It was brilliant. We went for a meal, and then we went bowling, and then we went and played pool. It was like a Tuesday night, so everything wasn't open late. It was all shutting at like 11, half 11. But if it had been open till 4 or 5 in the morning, we would have stayed. We were just enjoying each other's company so much, and we just clicked it right off the bat.
And how many years have been since then?
That was 6, coming up to 7 years ago, and we've been married for 2 and a bit now. So nearly 3, 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Very
good. I can see some hearts going out of your headphones, like hearts. You talk about Let's get another one. You like Brazilian music, by the way?
I love Brazilian music, yeah, and Cuban and Latin it's one genre that I've probably done the least of trumpet-wise. There's so much brass in it, and it's brilliant brass-wise, but I've not played an awful lot of it, and I'm really intrigued with it. I'm really fascinated by it.
Have you heard about bossa nova?
Oh, I love bossa nova. Yeah. I love that style. It's really infectious, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. Right. Next question is, what has been the lowest point of your life?
The lowest point has to have been last year, actually. I had a run of bad events. I lost my dad, and that's coming up to a year. That's a year next Wednesday. So it's pretty much a year to the day, really. So I lost him. We had a few miscarriages. My wife's now at the minute pregnant, and everything's going well. Touch wood.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's all turned round. But yeah, we had some miscarriages. I lost my dad to cancer. I lost both granddads as well, and obviously there was a pandemic, and that wiped out all live performance opportunities as well. My wife lost her job as well, so it was a terrible run of stuff. So that has to have been the lowest point, yeah, by far.
I believe in Brazil say when the storm comes, it comes all in one go, you know.
But it does.
It does, and after that, actually, I believe, even say that now, I've got goosebumps now talking about that. It's very powerful, and I believe that there's always, you know, when you look back, you go like, okay, there's always another day, there's another year, there's always another, you know, for you to look after. When you look back, you go like, okay, I'm sure I learned a lesson out of it, or it meant to happen that way, you know, and life carries on the way it should.
It does, and the thing with not to get too heavy, but the thing with losing people, losing your loved ones is, whenever it happens, and like with my dad, for example, he wasn't particularly old, but whenever it happens, that is actually the circle of life. You know, that is what happens. The elders die, and now we're bringing in a new generation into the world, and that's how it goes. You know,
totally.
And there's lots of happiness and sadness in that, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I believe as well that, as you said, like people, it's life. It's the way life is. You know,
it is.
It's not less confined. I'm sure when it happens, we get lost, we get slowed down and everything. But after, when you kind of get yourself back together, that's when you realize how things it meant to be in how life works. You know.
Absolutely.
Let's get another question for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
What was the most memorable lesson you learned from your dad?
The most memorable lesson I learned from my dad was that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. I'll give you an example. So I spoke to him probably 5 or 6 months before he passed, and I said, no, it was a bit longer than that, maybe a year. And I was working on a solo album. And I played him a track that we'd done, which was a cover. It was somebody else's song. And he said to me, yeah, that's great, but have you written any yourself? And I said, well, I've got 1 or 2. I said, but I'm not sure, Dad. I said, I'm not really a songwriter, because prior to being a singer, an artist myself, I always worked with other songwriters who were really, really gifted in that department. So I said to him, I'm not really a songwriter, Dad. And he said, yeah, hang on a minute. But you came to me 3-4 years ago and you said, I'm not really a lead singer, Dad. I'll do a bit of backing vocals. But then look at you now. You've got your own band. You're working on your second album and you're a singer. So he said to me, there's no reason why in 3-4 years' time you couldn't be a songwriter as well if you put your mind to it. And now I am writing songs and I do that. So I think that you can apply that to anything.
Totally. Wow. I'm glad to share that. I'm very glad. Right. Do you have an ability that you think no one has or you never met before?
Do I have an ability? No, not really. I think I've definitely got a resilience and a kind of adaptability. And I have to say I'm quite pleased with myself over this time that I've managed to put my skills to other uses. So with the podcast, I host a weekly radio show on Radio 2 Funky on a Monday afternoon. And they're things that they involve presenting and talking like we are now and performance, but not in the sense that I normally perform. So I think I'm quite good at seeking out opportunities and then using the skills that I've got inherently or I've worked hard on to make those opportunities work. If that makes sense.
Very good. I was already intimidated to interview you because I just started out and you are a singer, a spoken, you are in this business for good. And now you said that about the podcast. Now I feel even more intimidated now.
No. I'm no massive deal when it comes to broadcasting. I really enjoy it, and I feel like I've got a few people have said to me I've got better at it as I've gone on. It's definitely a skill in interviewing people, isn't it? It's not, people think it's easy, but it's not.
Right, Gareth, I have 3 questions left for you. Okay?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Right, next question for you. What's the most difficult thing have you ever done?
The most difficult thing I've ever done, to be honest, probably learn to sing properly. Learn to sing properly. That was harsh. That was. I had a great vocal coach, a guy called Simon Lebowski, who really knows his stuff, and he really pushed me to the limit. He was very honest with me as well, told me exactly how it is, and probably doing that was difficult. I remember also basketball-wise having to get my bleep test score. The bleep test where you run between the different. You run from one side of the court to the other, and it gets quicker and quicker, the bleeps. And so getting that up to, I think I was up to about an 18, somewhere on that. And that over a period of months, training for that was really, really hard as well. So physically, that was really draining. Mentally and emotionally, the singing was hard to get into.
Wow, very good. 2 questions left.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Right. Before the next question, tell me how basketball came into your life.
Basketball, I kind of grew up with basketball because of where we lived. The local team, the Leicester Riders, they originally played around the corner from basketball as a youngster and stuff. They were going to watch that, even when I was a baby and I was too young to go, and my grandma would look after me. And then I started going, when I was old enough, I started going to Saturday morning coaching sessions, 50 pence, and you can go for a coaching session for a couple of hours. And that was with the professional players, which was really inspiring. And then just from there, I ended up playing at a little bit of primary school, but more at secondary school. And then I went to a basketball academy, which was that was intense. That was like American style. You're in at 7 a.m. training. You're training after school as well. You're lifting weights in the daytime. And I went for an England trial. I got into the final 20 for the England squad. I didn't make the final 10, but I got into the final 20. So that, it kind of came into my life from, it was always going to be, whether I played or not, it was always going to be there. And I ended up working in basketball as well. I worked for the British Basketball League and for Leicester as well for the club. It was a joint role between the two. So and then it came to that point where they're both at weekends, and what do you do? Music. It was like music or basketball, which I had to make that choice.
When was the last time that you played a basketball game?
Last time I played a proper competitive match was about 4 years ago. A proper competitive game, and it was the final for the local league. I played for a local team in the local league. It was the final for the Division 4 of that, and I hadn't played for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I wasn't in great shape and stuff. But my game never relied on me being athletic, really. It relied on me being a good shooter, from 3-point shooter, so from distance. That was my thing. So and it's one of those things that goes either way. You're either on form and everything's going in and it's great, or you're missing everything and it's terrible. So and I was very streaky like that. I was either brilliant or not very good. So I went into this game. We were down 8 points. We were down 8 points, and I hit 3 threes. 3 threes, and took us to over by a point. We got one more basket, which I think I set up. I didn't score, but I gave the assist, and we won the game by 3 points. So that was the last game I played. So
well done. You just finished like the high level.
Yeah, retire. That's it. Go, quit while you're ahead, as we say.
Good for you. Okay, next question is, what's the best present have you ever received, and why you consider that?
Recently, the best present I've received, my wife and my 2 best mates and my mum as well, they all chipped in to get me a hot tub, which is out the back there, just past that door. So that's been, especially with lockdown and not being able to leave the house, that's been really nice. Just to
and this weather as well. And this weather as well is perfect.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. Even when it's snowing, it's fantastic. Like the snow coming down and you've got the steam as well. Oh, it's great. So that's a great recent present. But I have to say, probably in terms of meaningful stuff, it's probably my first trumpet would be the one that was the most meaningful, because that set me off on the music path. That was. And there was that. My granddad gave me my first one, which he was one of those guys who tried lots of different instruments, and it never, he never stuck with anything. I always said to him, "Granddad, you've got to stick at it," And he gave me this second-hand trumpet, which he hadn't really got on with, and it wasn't a brilliant trumpet. I've still got it. It wasn't a brilliant trumpet, but then it was after that he then bought the next couple, and they were a significant upgrade on that. And then when I turned professional, obviously I'm earning money, so I started buying my own. So yeah, that first one though was probably the best gift really that I've ever had, if I'm being serious. But if I'm being jokey, it's the hot tub.
Both of them mean something. Both of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Ready for the last one, Gareth?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, last question. Yeah, brilliant.
Let's get it. Right, let's get the last question for you, Gareth. Last question is, who is a celebrity you admire and why?
Celebrity I admire. My big hero really is James Brown. As a showman, a performer, his command of his band, his moves, his throwing the mic stand and then catching it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's brilliant. There are singers that I admire more than James Brown for their voice, if you know what I mean. But as a character, it's got to be James Brown. Yeah. He's the man.
And for you, in your opinion, who's got the best voice? You said about singers. Who do you think got the best voice? Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, in terms of who are still around, and unbelievably still around, Tony Bennett is a huge hero of mine. I mean, he's 94 now, I think, and we saw him in Birmingham, not in Birmingham, in London last year at the Royal Albert Hall, and he was outstanding. And he was singing. He was stood there singing. I'd probably say him, because I've seen him live. Him, and in terms of British singers, I've got to give a shout out. He doesn't always get the credit he deserves as a singer, but Jamie Cullum is right up there as a British jazz singer, and he's brilliant live as well, fantastic. But with Tony Bennett, I remember we were sat there, and I was when I watch these singers, I always hum along, because I think, could I sing that? I'm humming along, and my wife said to me, he hit this note, and everyone clapped, and my missus said to me, she said, "Oh, do you think you could get that note?" And I said, "Yeah." I was about 27 at the time. I said, "Yeah, I could, but at 27 or 28, whatever, I would be happy if I hit that at the Royal Albert Hall in front of this many people. I'd be over the moon." So for him to do it at 94, that's pretty impressive. So yeah, I have to say, because I've had that experience of seeing him live, and at that age, he still wowed me. I think it's got to be Tony Bennett.
Very good, very good. Right, Gareth, not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the quick thinking game. So I'm going to give away some words and you just tell me one word that comes to your mind, okay? Quick thinking.
One word, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Let's start with family.
Family, my dad, really, comes to my mind.
Money.
Growth.
Love.
Happiness.
Life.
Resilience.
Sex.
Enjoyment.
Politics.
Politics. Fairness.
I like this word. Religion.
I'm not religious, so nothing really comes to
Okay.
mind on that one.
Fear.
Fear. Anxiety.
Friendship.
Closeness.
Desire.
Lust.
Regrets.
Guilt.
Success.
Happiness.
Wish.
Wish. Dreams.
Okay. How about happiness?
Enjoyment.
If I tell you Leicester, one word.
Diverse.
And the last one, music.
Fun.
Good, good. Right, Gareth, let's play now Gareth and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question, okay? All right, Gareth, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, I've been thinking about this one. Where did the idea to do this come from? These interviews, where did, and the whole concept, where did that come from?
Right, so the whole concept, I always always been very creative. I always like to be creating something different, something new, something that makes me drive to life, like always being doing something new. And so literally 2 years ago, more or less, I would like to do, I had the whole project in my mind to do like a YouTube channel, everything connect with music, everything. I had the whole project, everything. I started to write down everything, and I met a friend of mine. His name is Gareth as well. He's from Wales and he lives in London, and he's a pianist.
I'm Welsh as well. I'm half Welsh, yeah. So.
Oh my God! And he's a pianist, professional pianist as well. He got his band back in Wales, and so one day I came up to him and I said, Gareth, I've got this whole idea of music, this project on YouTube, and I explained everything to him. And in the end, he said to me, William, oh my God, I even don't know how to tell you that, because you cannot use people's song on YouTube. You don't have copyrights. You're gonna your project cannot go through because of that. I was like, oh my God, I felt really bad because I had everything in my head anyway. So one day I said, okay, after like during the lockdown last year, I literally went for a run one day in the park, and this idea just popped in my head. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do something creative, something that's a project that I can connect with people worldwide, where people can connect with other people as well around the world, where people can go through their memories in life, where they can share their memories, where they can express their point of views. In the end of the day, there's not right or wrong answer, it's just different point of views. And again, your question about the idea, I've always been doing that. For example, when I go on holidays with friends, when I go out with friends, when we go like camping or whatever, always in the end of the night, there's always a point when I go like, okay, tell me something interesting about yourself, define yourself in a positive word, kind of interaction. So always. Anyway, so yeah, that's the answer. So the whole inspiration is I always want to do something creative, and the fact that I can connect with people, I think it's so lovely and nice, and I think it's a gift. I started project last year in summer last year doing shoots, and I've done already like 300 people worldwide, and I'm now a lot of people, and every day, like every weekend, because I'm work, so every weekend I'm doing shoots, and I'm still detailing a lot of shoots as well. So yeah, I just started out. It's something genuine, something just, and I hope one day I've got other projects as well based on these ones. So I just put it out there on YouTube. When the YouTube channel grows up, I have other projects as well connect with this one. So fingers crossed. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for your mental health, isn't it? Especially in these times to chat with people and get to know them. And it was probably quite interesting for you. Like, you've never met me, you've never met the people that you're interviewing, and you find out, you get quite a good insight into them, don't you? So.
By the way, thanks so much for your time. I know you are a very busy guy. You have everything. I feel like fortunate that you accept my invitation. But just before we go,
Yeah,
if you don't mind to, if you don't mind to, before, I'd like to ask you if you can sing as well a little bit, just to, if I can, if you can, just sing that.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I was thinking for this, I'll do the opening. I'll do a little bit of the opening number
Okay.
for the live stream that went out yesterday, because when this
Perfect.
goes out. So, it's one of my favorite kind of love songs, and it goes, "Are the stars out tonight? I don't know if it's cloudy or bright, 'cause I only have eyes for you, dear. Now the moon may be high, and I can't see a thing in the sky, 'cause I only have eyes for you. I don't know if we're in a garden or on a crowded avenue. You are here by my side. Maybe millions of people walk by, but they all disappear from view, and I only have eyes for you."
Yay! Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you very
No
much.
worries. Thank you, William. You take care and keep in
Thank
touch.
you so much. You too, and you keep in touch. All the best, okay?
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Did you have a nice time? Enjoyed the interview? William and the Magic Box. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, William and the Magic Box. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, just visit our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com. Give a like, share the video, and see you tomorrow with another lovely interview. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. Bye.